Hello everyone, and today we will be discussing about in the session 17 we'll be discussing about the topic on protein assay methods, and we'll also be discussing why we should assay the proteins and how to assay the proteins. Yeah, the first question is why to assay the protein. Accurate determination of the protein concentration is fundamental for all quantitative measurements of biochemical interactions. It is a critical step in the purification protocol that should not be delayed. The protein quantitation should be rapid, reliable, and resistance to potentially interfering substances. The time when accurate protein estimation is needed are when when a fractionation step is critically dependent on the protein concentration, when it is necessary to know whether a particular step has really removed much unwanted protein, and to assess the specific activity and following the progression of purification. And we all know that amino acids have different properties. They have a peptide bond, they have a C terminal, they have a N terminal, they have a side chain, they are polar, they are unpolar, they are non-polar, and they are sometimes charged, they are sometimes positive, they are sometimes negatively charged. The unique properties of amino acids contribute to the unique properties of the resulting proteins. So the resulting protein is due to the product, it is the product of the amino acids. So it depends on the type of the amino acids, depends upon the amino acids that are present in the protein. So hence our protein can be positively charged or negatively charged, or it can be acidic or basic, or soluble or insoluble, or whatever. The protein can be quantified or it can be measured by many methods, like we have uh, dye based method, Bradford method, fluorescent method, Biuret method, Lowry's method, and UV spectrophotometry method of quantification of the protein. And how it works, let us see. So proteins measure, they will show maximum absorbance at 280 nanometer due to the presence of the aromatic amino acids. Direct measuring, advantage of this method is it is direct measuring, no assay is being done, no reagents are required. Each protein absorbs differently. So by exposing the sample of protein at 280 nanometer, it will give maximum absorbance. So this is one way of detecting the protein. The other method of quantification of protein is dye based, where we use protein dye. Protein binds to the dye because proteins are colorless, uh, not easily distracted, and compatible with most of the things. High protein variability. So these are some of the limitations. So here the protein binds with the dye and it forms a color complex, and this can be measured. So similarly, we have Biuret assay. So where protein binds with the Biuret reagent by forming a colored complex which is purple in color. It is less variable from protein to protein compared to Bradford, and compatible with most detergents. And so it also has certain limitations, like it is incompatible with things that reduce copper like DDT. So this experiment will not work. Okay. And we also have a very sensitive assay called as Lowry's assay, or here we are using folin phenol reagent reduced to form dark blue color compound and measures blueness. And the endpoint assay, timing is less important, incompatible with amines. It is not compatible with amines. So the protein binds with some reagent to form a color complex, and that can be measured. So these are some of the possible ways how proteins are quantified. Like similarly, we have one more assay called as Bradford assay. Here also we use a dye. Dye changes color, and that can be we have to measure the color, It is fast, cheap and easy assay. So yeah, so these are some of the assays by which we can quantify the proteins. So you can write dye-based assays like Bradford assay, biuret based assay like Lowry's assay, and just spectrophotometer based assay you can write at 280 nanometer protein gives maximum absorbance due to the presence of the aromatic amino acids. Okay, so this is the explanation of the how biuret reaction. So this is a protein, and it interacts with the Cu2 plus, which is present in the biuret reagent, and it forms a complex. It forms a complex. So Lowry's, it is very similar in case of Lowry's. Uh, Phenol reagent. It's a folin phenol reagent. It has phosphomolybdic phosphotungstic acids get reduced to form blue color product. Cu plus stays on the protein, and we get a colored complex. We get a colored complex. And dye based assays like colorimetric assays, uh, uh, such as Bradford assay. So this is your protein, and it binds with some dye, and it forms changes the color, and it forms a complex, and this can be measured by the colorimeter or by the spectrophotometer. And in case of fluorescent assays such as qubit assay, dye lets off light upon protein binding. How bright the light, how fluorescence we have, how much fluorescence we have, depending on that, we get the measurement. And this is how we have to plot and all. So these are nothing but the standard reference protein. So most of the time we use a reference protein for our protein assays, and that protein is bovine serum albumin. And this is how we get the color complex as the protein concentration is going to increase. So initial protein concentration, as the concentration increases, and the uh, absorbance also increases. So this is somewhere around, absorbance is around 595 or 600 nanometer. And as the concentration of the protein increases, the absorbance also increases. So this is of BSA. This is our standard bovine serum albumin. And here you can see the color is increasing. The color is increasing as the concentration of the protein is increasing. The color is also increasing. And in case of, I said you that UV absorbance based protein quantification, how it can be done is, you see this is the electromagnetic spectrum, and which is being used. So this part is used. So in our UV visible spectrum, we are going to use this radiations, and so somewhere around 400 to 700 nanometer, or sometimes 200 to 700 nanometer. And it uses Beer and Lambert's law to convert absorbance to protein concentration, so which is governed by this equation and Beer and Lambert's law. A is equal to ECL. So when we plot a graph of absorbance versus the wavelength, so at this particular, I said you that at 230 nanometer, protein backbone and salts, they get maximum absorbance. And at 280 nanometer, 260 nanometer, we are getting a peak for nucleic acids, and 280 nanometer is for aromatic rings. It is for aromatic rings. 230 is for the proteins. 230 is for the the aromatic protein rings are detected at 280 nanometer. So indole rings absorbs ultraviolet radiations at 280 nanometer, and our tryptophan. So these aromatic amino acids which have the rings, they show maximum absorbance at 280 nanometer. Aromatic amino acids, mainly tryptophan, absorbs 280 nanometer light. So this becomes a way to quantify the protein. So in summary, so these are the assays, and what mechanism they are going to interact, and what is the way of detection. Advantages and disadvantages have been summarized here. So if a question is asked on quantification method of proteins, so you can just write one UV method, you can write one Lowry method, or you can also write a Bradford method, and you can write it works on absorption principle at what nanometer, and what is the sensitivity of the assay you can mention, and how much amount of the sample is required, and what are the incompatibilities or disadvantages that also you can mention. I hope you have understood this lecture, and these are my references. Uh, I thank you for your listening and learning. I hope it was useful. Thank you one and all.